When Trump went after the H1B visa, the headlines called it immigration reform. He said it was about protecting American jobs. But behind the curtain, it was something more dangerous, an old capitalist trick, stoking xenophobia to divide workers, while corporations kept profiting. The story of the H1B isn't just about America. We see echoes of it everywhere, from Silicon Valley to the streets of South Africa, where ordinary workers are turned against each other instead of against the system that exploits them all. If this breakdown helped connect the dots, hit subscribe, tap the bell, and share it with a coworker or classmate, because immigration policy is labor policy. Trump's policy wasn't about defending workers. It was about weaponizing nationalism. He told American workers, "Your enemy is the immigrant." But here's the truth. Immigrant workers didn't offshore factories. They didn't automate industries. They didn't siphon profits to shareholders. It was capital that did this. Corporations closed factories in Detroit and reopened them in Mexico. Wall Street stripped industries bare, paying out 90% of profits to billionaires. Yet workers were told to point their anger sideways at each other, rather than upward at the real culprits. Look at South Africa. Decades after apartheid, workers there still face deep poverty and unemployment. And who gets the blame? Not the mining corporations that drain the wealth. Not the politicians who serve the elite. Instead, poor migrant workers, from Zimbabwe, Nigeria, Mozambique, become the scapegoat. Xenophobic violence breaks out. Neighbors turn against neighbors. Shops are burned. Lives are lost. But here's the truth. South African workers and migrant workers are both trapped under the same boot. As long as they fight each other, the capitalists win. The xenophobia that Trump stoked in America is the same poison we see in South Africa. Division as a weapon of capital. Let us be clear, workers have no borders. The chains of capitalism do not stop at customs, they do not pause at immigration checkpoints, and they do not vanish at the edge of a nation's flag. No, they stretch across the world, binding us all in a single system designed to extract our labor, deepen our divisions, and weaken our collective power. That is why nationalism and xenophobia are deadly traps. They whisper in our ears, blame the immigrant, blame the outsider, blame your neighbor. But this is a lie. The truth is simple. Your fellow worker, whether born in Texas or Tamil Nadu, Johannesburg or Lagos, is not your enemy. Your real enemy sits in the corporate boardroom, in the banks, and in the mansions of billionaires who grow rich off the sweat of all our labor. We must answer division with unity. Immigrant and native-born workers must stand shoulder to shoulder, demanding the same dignity, the same wages, the same protections. Our unions must rise to defend every worker, no matter where they come from, because an injury to one is truly an injury to all. And these visa systems, these modern chains that tie a worker's entire future to a single employer, must be broken. They are nothing less than instruments of control, designed to keep workers silent, fearful, and obedient. So let us direct our anger where it belongs, not at one another, but at the corporations and billionaires who profit from keeping us divided. Because when workers fight each other, capital wins. As Walter Rodney reminded us, the greatest weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. If we allow xenophobia to poison our minds, then we hand victory to the very system that exploits us all. But if we choose solidarity, real solidarity, across race, across nation, across language, then we will finally begin to break those chains. And when we break them, we will not only free ourselves, we will free the generations to come. Trump's H1B policy was never about protecting jobs. It was about creating a distraction. It was about feeding xenophobia, about pointing the finger at immigrant workers so that American workers wouldn't look up and see the real problem. A capitalist system that exploits them just as ruthlessly as it exploits those on temporary visas. Look closely. The H1B worker who codes for Google under threat of deportation if they speak up, and the American contract worker at Amazon who fears being replaced at any moment. They are not enemies. They are victims of the same system, just placed in different cages. We can already see this truth in action. In the US, unions like the Communications Workers of America, CWA, have fought to include immigrant tech workers in their campaigns, demanding that H1B workers receive the same protections as everyone else. Groups like Tech Workers Coalition have stood up inside Silicon Valley itself, exposing how companies pit immigrant and American workers against one another while executives pocket billions. And beyond tech, the Service Employees International Union, SEIU, has organized immigrant janitors, home care workers, and nurses alongside native-born workers, proving that solidarity makes unions stronger, not weaker. The lesson is simple and urgent. Solidarity or slavery. We must reject the lies of nationalism, reject the poison of xenophobia, and recognize that our only hope lies in unity. American and immigrant workers, South African, Nigerian, and Zimbabwean workers must see themselves as one class with one struggle. The Union Hall, not the border wall, is where our power lies. Workers of the world, unite, not against each other, but against the system that bleeds us all. And when we do, we will discover that we were never powerless. The only thing we lacked was solidarity. Comrades, if you found this breakdown useful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so more people can hear the truth that mainstream media refuses to tell. Every share is a spark, every comment is part of the struggle, and every subscription helps build a community of workers who are awake, aware, and ready to fight back. Together, we can break through the lies, challenge the system, and stand shoulder to shoulder with workers across the world. So remember these words as you leave today: organize, resist, and be unbreakable.